Welcome to Basically Sci-Fi, the short storytelling podcast where we tell stories you can basically call sci-fi. I'm Jared.
I'm Todd.
And I'm Adam.
Yeah.
Woo.
So, got a story from me today about stuff and things. I didn't think of anything to talk about, so
Yeah.
That's fine. Our last
if you guys
episode,
have anything?
we just jumped right into my story last episode. No cutting or chopping or screwing there at all either.
He just got right to it.
Yeah, we just got right to it from the jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely didn't talk about crazy diets you found on YouTube or anything like that.
The viewers will never know because they don't listen to this part.
Yeah.
Or they only listen to this part and get bored before the story starts.
Oh no.
There's definitely some of each. There's definitely some people that are like, I just want to hang out with Jared and Todd and Adam for a little bit.
Well, I hope.
And there are also people who are like, I want to follow the story and I don't need to hear about whatever, whatever Todd thinks about writing this week.
The only thing we really know is that nobody listens to all of it.
Oh, well. Then if we've got nothing to talk about, then Jared, do you want to just get right into it?
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, let's dive right on in.
So, my story today is called Space Madness and Other Minor Concerns.
Minor.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to start cutting you off, though. I think I get what that means, but I don't want to do what I did to Adam's story last time and just, be like, I get that joke before you've made it.
Well, it's not a joke, so whenever you get that joke is not a thing.
You can't get a joke that's not there.
Space madness is cabin fever in space.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said face madness.
Space.
I'm sorry. I was like, yeah, face madness,
my
whatever
face
that
is
is.
So mad. No,
I don't know how that would work.
No.
Perpetually angry
but even
face
that
syndrome.
Is wrong, Todd. That is wrong.
Okay.
Space madness is literally one line, just a minor joke in the middle of it. But it's the other half of the title that's more reflective of the episode. Okay. Minor concerns.
Ooh. Well, I am ready for a tale of minor concerns. Oh no.
Not minors as in children. Not minors as in people that dig for rocks. But
Yeah, the not major.
Yeah, just minor concerns.
Yeah, okay. Don't need to unionize.
Listen.
I'm listening.
Everybody needs to unionize. Today.
Yeah. That'd be ideal. The arc began to slow down again, meaning it'd be just 2 more weeks until it reached the 4th potentially livable planet on their search. It had been 15 years since they had left 61 Alabif.
What?
What? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah? Okay. And the crew were coming to terms with the idea that if this was not a livable planet, then many of them would never see a new homeworld. Several had already succumbed to the voyage. A few to space madness, an incurable form of insanity brought on by traveling too fast for too long.
Oh, okay.
Some, such as Randall, had been lost when visiting planets. He was, of course, eaten by a friendly giant raccoon who just couldn't control its appetite. And one had died in an unfortunate incident involving a stack of paper, 3 goats, and a hand grenade. While the original travelers' numbers had diminished over time, there were replacements on the way. As the years passed, people couldn't or wouldn't keep it in their pants, and so a new generation was on its way up. Mostly raised by distant parents always busy with work, and the lovingly violent outbursts of the maintenance bots. It was a distinctly angry generation of genius scientists and engineers. Hong was the eldest of these Ark-born kids, and the leader of the pack they had formed to get by and protect themselves from the occasional wrath of the maintenance bots. At 15, he was the progeny of parents who just couldn't help themselves and went at it as the Ark was departing Elizabeth.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
yeah.
you gotta have at least one baby born on that spaceship.
He walked up to Plum. It was a game the kids had played with the old man. They would ply him with stupid questions until he completely lost it and started firing his taser at them. They would all laugh and run away. Hong started in with "Hey Plum, how come that maintenance bot says you aren't able to build the terraforming equipment needed to help us find a home?" "What?" Plum then shot Hong with his taser, and all
Jeez.
the other kids laughed and ran away as Hong lay there in the fetal position, twitching from the shock.
Got him.
"Goddamn kids," Plum muttered to himself as he shuffled on about his work. He had been busying himself with work on this terraforming project. He was nearly finished, probably would have been done already too, but he was finding more and more that he just liked spending time cloaked in his quarters, away from the rest of the crew. Though he did enjoy these games with the kids. They seemed to like getting tased, and he sure loved tasing them. As he made his way to his quarters, he passed several people, some of whom waved or said hello, some who stared into the distance, not particularly knowing him, and yet others that gave him mild looks of disgust, knowing full well that he was to blame for the state of the maintenance bots. All in all, a typical day with typical interactions. As he turned the corner, he ran into a maintenance bot. "Watch where you're walking, dickhead." The bot had in fact moved into Plum's way just so it could shout at someone. They found it funny to antagonize the sapient members of the crew, but it quickly moved on upon seeing Plum pulling out his taser. The bot was on its way to engineering to make sure the engines were spooling down properly. At least mostly. It was also feeling the need to harass someone else on its way. It came up to Frunga, who seemed to be minding her own business, calibrating the day-night cycle in the greenhouse. The bot decided this would be the perfect time to frighten her. It entered silent running mode, initially intended to help reduce noise during the evening for crew comfort. The bots mostly used it to sneak up on people now, though. And it leapt out from behind a structural pillar, tased her while shouting at her for running into its taser.
That's how you scare someone.
You just
That's
jump
how
out and
the
tase him
robots do, yes.
from 0 to tased in
Yeah.
half a second.
Scared you.
Frunga felt a sharp shock, then woke up on the floor alone about 5 minutes later.
Oh god.
She had been working on resetting the day-night cycle. That much she knew. But she wasn't sure what had just happened. So she began to make her way to the infirmary when she spotted a couple of the bots pointing and laughing at her. "You idiots really need to stop tasing people," she shouted at them. They flipped her off and scurried away, knowing that she was one of the few sapients around that could get them into real serious trouble. She walked into the infirmary and went up to one of the nurses. Josephine had been a cultist on Fibula, but when she got word that the cultists were planning to try and stop cooperation on the Ark project, she'd warned the Alabithans and Roger, and then joined the voyage, seeking a new life for herself.
Oh wow.
In the intervening years, she had lengthened her name from Joe to Josephine, because everyone else's name sounded silly, so hers should too. "What can I do for you today, Frunga?" "Well, I just came to let you know the bots are in a tazy kind of mood, so get ready for the influx of confused and injured patients." "Oh well, it'd been a couple of weeks since we had a surge. I guess we were due. Thanks for letting us know. I'll put up the sign. I appreciate the heads up." Frunga's nose started to bleed and she ran away.
Oh.
Well, that was out of context and out of character. I should probably schedule her for a brain scan. Noses shouldn't spontaneously bleed like that,
Huh.
Josephine said to herself. She'd previously been working on genetic tests to determine the viability of reproduction between crew members from the different worlds. It had been talked about more recently as the children on the ship grew up together. Bonds had been formed. Initially, there hadn't been much crossover, in a relationship sense, between the different peoples, simply because of the physical differences and the comparably small numbers of fibulins. Her research was yielding results. The two species were quite similar in a genetic sense. It would seem they were closer in the parallel universe sense than their outward appearances suggested. The Alabifans had just been affected in their development by Roger's pollution. Interbreeding would likely require manipulation of cellular vibrations, and that is what her current research was looking at. And she was just about to get back to it when Happel walked in. "Hello, Josephine. I was just walking to the engine room when I blacked out. I think I should get checked out, if you have a minute." "Oh, sorry. I was warned about this, but forgot to put up the sign. Bots are being rambunctious with their tasers again. I'll go do that now." "Okay. Well, thanks anyways. I probably should have guessed. I'll go and chastise Plum for giving them personalities again." "That sounds like an excellent use of your time. Him being ridiculed will certainly make everything better." Happel left, considering this. What if continually ridiculing people for past mistakes wasn't particularly helpful? What if his ideas of interpersonal interaction had been wrong all along? He banished these negative thoughts. Happel was an old man at this point, and being the way he was had gotten him this far in life, so he probably shouldn't change them now. He made his way to the bridge on a whim more than anything. He enjoyed walking past all the important people on board and getting little hellos from all of them. It stoked his ego and made all of his efforts over the years worth it. With Randall's death, there was no chance of anyone claiming it had been their plan to get the Fibulins to help, securing his legacy for generations to come. It came with only infrequent and mild guilt, knowing just how self-serving his murder had been. He banished that thought, too, knowing it served only to increase the chances of letting information slip.
Good point.
Yeah.
That's a thought crime.
When he arrived at the bridge, he ran into Glorda, one of the stealth scientists. She had spent much of her time on board starting construction on the security robots, and had made some decent progress. Still, he felt the urge to needle her on the topic. "How goes your progress on the mutually assured destruction robots?" "Good. They'll be ready by the time we arrive," Glorda replied. Not quite true, but she knew Happel was just looking for a reason to agitate her. Her claims didn't stop him, though. "Just be sure you have it ready for initial testing in the next 2 weeks." She thought about this. She knew it would be ready by then, but so did he. Therefore, pointing it out would not serve any purpose. Glorda went to her avoiding conversations bag of tricks and just said, "I know what you did,"
Oh
and
god.
proceeded to stare him down. Happel was shocked. He wasn't sure how anyone could have possibly found out. He was very careful to cover his tracks. But Glorda was from the other dimension. Maybe she had some evidence he hadn't known needed covering up. She didn't, of course. She was just trying to get him to leave her alone.
Oh no.
His train of thought went on, though. As his eyes glazed over, he left without another word. Well, that was an odd reaction. Usually they get nervous and try to excuse themselves. He must have done something really awful. The only other time Glorda had seen that was with the guy who, it turned out, had stolen the crown jewels of the old empire so he could cosplay some character from a video game more accurately.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
It ultimately wasn't productive to dwell on it. Some people were more burdened by guilt than others. It was best to just assume that was the case here. There were more important things to get done right now. Glorda returned to her work. She'd been working on a missile system that would read as active atomic weaponry, but not actually cause any damage should someone set it off. It was important that there be no actual threat to the world. It should just appear that way to discourage visitors. The way she'd decided to accomplish this was by making the robot occasionally emit images of explosions into the void. But it couldn't go too far, or it'd be clear posturing. Instead, she went to work on short-range communication systems, like most species developed before the more advanced communications. Radio was one possibility. It had been common on Albith and Fibula both, but most people never used it because they lacked sufficient radiation on their homeworlds. This was when Plum stumbled into the room. Glorda tried to ignore him. It was never very helpful engaging with him. It usually just ended with gratuitous swearing. He made his way over to a research station. It was a large computer built into the wall, unique in that a number of individual programs could be run and correlated to produce any result you really wanted, whether accurate or not. It was Plum's favorite station because of this. Got there and realized he didn't know why he'd headed that way in the first place. This always annoyed him. The nagging suspicion that he was losing his mind, which of course had happened years ago. He just didn't start worrying about it until recently. But these doubts never lasted long. They did really piss him off, though. He wasn't the type of person to have self-doubts. So why not turn that anger and frustration on the person closest to him? What are you doing, Glorda? Why'd you go to the other side of the table when I came in here? Are you trying to avoid me? Years we've worked together, finessing that cloaking system. Now you try and avoid me. Oh, look. You answered your own question. Glorda then looked to the nearest exit and said, You're so clever. How do you not know how to go fuck yourself yet? I will fucking... He was cut off as the ship lurched to a halt.
You did say it would end in swearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be stopping for 2 more weeks, Glorda said. Plum's response was cut off by a ship-wide alert asking all senior staff to report to the bridge. Next time.
Ooh. All right.
Yeah.
Now
This
they're senior
was-
staff because they're all old.
Yeah.
Thought about that too. I think that's a very cool direction to take the story. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, aging them out, but keeping them in, and then bringing in new characters. That's really cool. I like that.
Yeah, no, I just needed... At this point, I was just tired of writing those characters. I needed something different, you know.
Yeah, you couldn't have them all be murdered by giant raccoons, so some of them have to get old and
No.
die.
I'm waiting for that to happen in all of our stories. All of our characters are just going to get old and die, and then it's going to be like real life. I like it.
I've had a 5-year time skip in mind, but not 15, and I don't know.
Yeah.
My characters are all perpetually young and sexy, so
Yeah, 15-year time
I
skip
don't
is
think-
pretty significant.
like that's yeah.
Like, takes a 50-year-old man into being a, like, senile 75-year-old.
Yes.
Your math,
75 is 15 more than 50, yes.
math is a bit off, but I get what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, I was excited to find out what Hong was gonna do, but he just got tased and left there. So we'll find out next time, I guess.
Yeah, he
I don't even know that anyone helped
he
him
does
to the
come back
doctor.
later.
He didn't show up
He
to the
does come
doctor.
back later, but he's only 15, so I don't
Yeah,
have any interest in actually writing children.
right. No minor concerns or no minor interests. No interest in minors.
Yeah.
Those robots seem like they're starting to get kind of feral.
Well,
Yeah, well,
Like,
Yeah,
at first they were just
I mean-
like angry New Yorkers, but like now they're
Right.
like fucking taser animals running
It-
around.
it's gonna
I
be
mean, did
weird to
you-
see how fast they're gonna turn into butler bots. right?
Yeah, because the Butler bots had lightsabers,
Right.
legally distinct lightsabers.
Right, they are
They're laser
they are
swords.
Laser
becoming
swords.
they are becoming that, but it's interesting to see how quickly they will.
I still haven't technically written them as the Butler bots, but I'll probably do that at the next episode I write,
There was
which is like months from now.
Yeah.
I still have like 4 episodes in the bag. But I haven't
Okay.
been writing much lately.
Right, and you had gotten way ahead, so
Yeah.
yeah, there I forget what it had been, but there had been some pretty heavy foreshadowing that they would become Butler bots. So
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Might not be in
Yeah,
a
it's,
published episode yet, so I haven't had a chance to re-listen to it.
I think it's episode 8, right? With those robots. Or was it before that?
Oh, with the Butler bots, yeah, but I reintroduced them with this storyline, but I didn't make it apparent until just a few episodes ago
Yeah.
that that's what they were.
Yeah,
Right.
I remember that reveal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, here I was
Yeah.
thinking we were going to get another story with Gregorius and Rudy, the lake creature, but no, they got left behind, didn't they?
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, they weren't. Gregorius killed someone. They
Yeah.
couldn't hang out with him.
Well, did he get killed before the end of the episode, or like?
No.
Yeah, there was a
Uh,
cutaway, and then you assume that he got
there was a-
killed, and
yeah.
now
Yeah, that's
we know.
that's
Yeah.
what we call cliffhanger. We don't
Yeah.
know. It's a
So
mystery.
yeah,
You could go
I
back.
thought the cliffs were going to be hung, but it got cleared up right at the beginning.
It was a cold
Randall's
day.
gone.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's I thought about writing that, like a story with him on that planet,
Hmm.
and so I am. With the current episode I'm writing involves him.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking, as long as Happel thinks he got murdered, like, they just left. Randall could still be there hanging out with Gregorius. But,
Yeah.
Or he got eaten. Either way.
Either way,
Yep.
you'll find out eventually.
Oh god,
Yeah.
Gregorius using his disembodied skull as a fucking Muppet or something, talking to himself.
It's-
I'm hungry. What are you?
What's that movie with Tom Hanks? He's talking to a volleyball.
I believe that is Invincible.
Castaway. Yeah.
There we go. That's it.
Yeah. Wilson.
In the movie, we'll get Tom Hanks to play Gregorius.
Talking to a skull puppet.
That would work. I could see that. He could totally do
Yeah, he could give himself permission to eat.
like a real friendly character that unleashes with permission.
Yeah.
Anyway,
He's not green though.
Yeah.
I liked this story. It was really nice. I know it was just people wandering around the ship and kind of,
Yeah.
not doing anything special. But it did clear up
Yeah.
cliffhangers. It established new threads to be explored. So
Yeah.
the interaction between the characters
That
is really well done. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think at the time I was writing this, I kind of complained to you about it because it's just got an in-between episode. It's got to happen,
Right.
and I always felt like I was forcing it to try and be funny,
Yeah.
but I think in the end it had some actually good moments in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, downtime episodes are where you can focus a lot on the interpersonal relationships of the characters. It's not
Yeah.
it's not like a driving conflict, so it's really just a bunch of dudes chilling. And that is also fun.
Yeah.
There's a whole genre of visual media, slice of life. It's basically essentially that.
Yeah. No, when I was writing it, I just watched this movie on Amazon. It's called Vast of Night.
Okay.
It's real stylized, set in the 50s with all this other things, but there are a lot of really long tracking shots, like just continuous footage being filmed of actors with expository dialogue and all this other really interesting. But it was kind of the feel I was going for with this, like down one hallway and back up another with the same, or with you run into a different branch of this current story each time, and like I don't know. Yeah,
It it definitely felt like the ship was running, and you said specifically that it was a bunch of normal interactions,
yeah,
as normal, which was funny because the interactions are weird, but it also showed that the ship is running, and it has been running for 15 years. So
yeah,
some people are going space mad, but that's part of.
But who isn't?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was not cabin fever, but still sounds pretty similar. Just caused by speed.
Yeah, I mean, and this was definitely written like height of the pandemic.
Right.
Like at home most of the day.
Yeah.
Unless I'm at work, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no, it came from that for sure. Well, thank you for listening. We will be back next time with a story from Todd.
Yep. I didn't just remember that.
Oh, that's okay. You got 1 week to write it,
story
my man.
from Todd that he apparently hasn't started.
I've got an outline.
Yeah, and well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that stupid bullshit. And we will see you next time.
Yep, bye.
Bye.